Yeah.
I was rushing in, so.
I know, I told my wife that this product gets used like a 6 different products. But I don't want to die on it. She spent 25 minutes doing my sheet. He just well, I've been trying to take it. If I take my son's doing it, so I'm trying to do it too. July, did you take the clicker? Are you kidding? All right, I know it's not going to work, but I want to point with it. Pretty much I got the lingo down.
It's the same as our this one. Okay, the time is now 6:30. I'll call this meeting to order. Could we please stand for the pledge of allegiance? Okay, we'll start with roll call.
Virginia Allen,
Naomi Smith.
Linda Jordans,
Stephanie Walsh.
Linda Theodore,
Lisa Carey.
Okay, Kevin Codere let me know he would not be here tonight. So next we would go into accepting the minutes from March 25th, 2026. And I would be looking for a motion to
I
table
move
that.
to table that till the next meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor? Okay, motion carries. Okay, next is the presentation from the police department for their proposed fiscal budget for 2026 to 2027.
Thank you. If nobody can hear me, I will grab a mic, but usually I am pretty loud, so I probably don't need the mic. First and foremost, thank you for giving me the opportunity to do this. As you know, we're one of the largest sides of the budget for the town side, so I think it's very important to go over the details as a reference to this budget in this upcoming budget year. As you can see, our cover sheet or our cover for the PowerPoint, basically just try to do something a little different, kind of show you what we used to drive. You know, they're really not that pretty. You can see the blue car with the markings. I'm not sure what happened there. I think somebody had a bad day in design school and put the police sign and thought that would be cool on there.
It's supposed to go. Yeah, you're too close together.
And then earlier one from the late 80s, early 90s cop car that actually was able to find online. So just wanted to show you a little bit what we used to drive back years ago compared to what we drive today. Unfortunately, I won't be able to change on my clicker, so hopefully there we go. So we have a few little animations that we're going to see today. It's a little bit different. Hopefully it's a little bit more interactive. So I've been doing this for now 5 years. So hopefully it goes by a little bit smoother, a little bit better. It's not boring. I did put something together here with Katie, my administrative assistant, who's been my backbone to try to get this done. I'm surprised she hasn't quit yet because I've been on her for months and it's like almost every day. The next slide that I'm going to have when we play it, it's a video. I just want you to see. There are actually calls that we respond to. We get the misconception of we're in a quiet corner, or this is a quiet town. And, you know, far too often people don't see what we do on a daily basis. So Katie was able to put together a presentation. It is 5 minutes long, but I promise you it will go by very fast. It's very interesting. You're going to see a little bit of a disclaimer that actually says there may be profanity. We did our best to try to bleep it out. Anything that you see here is FOIable, so there's nothing that should not be played other than trying to bleep out any profanity that we find. Right here, just real quick, is some of our finest officers. The 2 young ladies there, and then our dog. And of course, the 2 dogs.
Well, 1103. Where's that?
Right here.
Get out of the car. Settle him out. No! Get on the ground! I ain't doing this. Roll over. Roll over. Get in my back.
Yo, I just got out of the car. My head. Yo, dude, I didn't swing on you. My head. My head's not there.
Is anyone else out there with him? Is anyone else out there with him? Tyler, stop, please. Please. Stop. Get down. Get down. Get down. Put your hands on your back. Alfred. You can't be. Come on. behind your back. Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back. Not rotate, dude. One tase, taser deployed, taser deployed.
Trying to swallow a narcotic right there.
Drop it, 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 drop it. Stop it.
Can you hear it?
No.
Watch out.
The mayor!
Plainfield PD!
Just lay down.
Show me your hand.
Hey.
Stay out!
All right, listen. Talk to me.
Chief.
Yep.
Roll over. Roll over. We don't want to hurt you. We don't want to hurt you. It's okay. We're not going to hurt you. Roll over towards you, Chief.
I don't have the other arm. I don't have the other arm.
Just the remote. That's just the remote. That's the knife. The knife was on the bed. Yep. Okay. Take your remote, buddy. Squeeze. Just keep his hands together. Yeah.
We got a report of an overdose. We're gonna come and check. Open the door. Let us know if you're there. Break it. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Police, I need you to come to the door.
If not, then make entry.
On the door, she said.
We got no choice, we gotta do what we gotta do, so we made plenty of notes. Robert, Plainfield Police, you in there?
Right? It's all his fault. Why I got you? Stop.
Show me your head. Policeman and canine.
Watch him.
Obviously, I just want to show something different of what these officers encountered. That is not years worth of video. That happens far more often than you think here in the town of Plainfield. Now, I don't want to scare anybody away because Plainfield does rank one of the safest communities in the state. And I credit that to the men and women at the Plainfield Police Department for what they do every single day. Okay, awesome job. Good job. Thank you very much. And now we get into all the good stuff, all the numbers. The cost of safety, we talk about it. Every dollar in this budget supports a variety of things. And just to mention a few, obviously, is a response to a 911 call, an officer trained to handle a crisis, building trust within our community, but most importantly, as I mentioned, a safer community. That's what it's all about. It's making this community safe so we can have businesses. People want to come to Plainfield. People want to move here. That's what we want to do. We want to make sure that happens. Just a little bit of the organizational structure. You do have that in front of you. It's just how our department is structured and what our chain of command as it relates to the department. The Board of Police Commissioners, they meet every Tuesday, the fourth Tuesday of every month. It is not often attended or not attended by a lot of people. Usually it is only attended by a lot of people if there's some sort of problem or if somebody has some sort of complaint. That's when you actually see people in attendance at the Board of Police Commissioners meeting. The first line item you're going to see is department head. That is me. It doesn't list chief of police in the budget, but the department head is referring to me. I meet with the police commission monthly. Overall, I should say the body of the police commission I meet monthly. The chairman, for some reason, I think he just enjoys seeing me. He tries to show up 2-3 times a week, but I'm busy. I don't have time for him all the time. So I try to let him know that I can't meet with him 2-3 times a week. I obviously oversee the day-to-day operations. Also, every single penny that is spent at the department, I authorize to make sure that it is acceptable and also fit within our allotted funds. Mine is a contractual increase. It's listed there. And then we're going to get into each slide. And if anybody has any questions, I'm going too fast. If you have any questions, just let me know. I'm sure you're going to have some. You can stop me if you want. We can, whatever you want, we can do. So you just let me know. Anybody? Yeah. We'll go over every number, so we can stop at every number, which is fine. Deputy Chief, he is the assistant chief. He assumes command when I'm not there. He also is our training officer. He coordinates all of it for the department. We have roughly 30 employees, and we'll go over that, give or take. One of the biggest things, especially as a result of the Police Accountability Act, is professional standards. We have to take every single complaint and investigate it, whether it's verbal, written, third party, or we just hear through the grapevine on Facebook. We have to pull a professional standards number, and a full investigation has to be done. We have to notify the complainant that a case has been pulled with the case number, and that has to be completely investigated by somebody that's independent, which is the deputy chief. The deputy chief, in turn, completes a full case report, meets with either the complainant if they want to, or any officers that are involved, reviews footage, and then he submits the case to myself for review. Now, the department has what we call a discipline matrix. If the officer or somebody did something wrong, you really go into the category to see what it entails. Let's say the officer was rude, it was a courtesy, there's a spot that says, okay, officer may need remedial training, or you know what, the officer actually wasn't rude, and it was actually the complainant, so there's nothing that is going to transpire. You will be surprised that when we sit and meet with complainants and we watch the body cam footage, you actually will have people sit there and go, well, that's not me. That's you. Well, I don't remember that happening like that. Well, that happened like that. Here is the video. So, you know, a lot of people were about, oh, how confident I feel about body-worn cameras. I think it's the best tool out there, right? Because you would never saw 98% of that of what transpired other than through word of mouth. And you just saw it firsthand on what the cops are dealing with firsthand. Any questions on the deputy chief?
Is that contractual?
That is contractual as well. So the deputy chief and myself are individual contracts. We're appointed by the Board of Police Commissioners. However, we sign a contract with the town. The lieutenant, he is a union member, He is part of the police officers. He is involved in day-to-day operations as well. He closes the gap between administration, which is myself and the deputy chief, and patrol officers and the sergeant. So he's that mix of I have a little bit of administration, and I also have make sure that I supervise the sergeants that are there as well as all the guys. He's also our accreditation manager, which we have completed our state of Connecticut accreditation. When did we complete that? How long ago? A couple months ago. So he's phenomenal at that. He's really good, and that's required by law. So we have met that accreditation and have gone above and beyond that. This is contractual. One thing I do want to say about this is I met with the director of finance, who, by the way, has been unbelievably awesome to deal with. She's a huge team member. I can't say enough about her and how she's helped me through this budget and going over each number. Just to be able to have that relationship has been second to none. She's done a phenomenal job. I can't ask anything more than what she has done to help me through this process. We know that we have to move the lieutenant position into the officer's salary because all those officer salaries are union members. Let's say, for instance, somebody says they want to cut line item 106116-30. Can't cut that because that's contractual in the union contract. He's a member and there's 12 cops behind him. So he could not, let's say we had a layoff and he had a layoff. You can't do that because he's governed by a union contract and there's 12 officers that have less seniority. So we have to move him into the officer's salary. So next year when you see this, and I'm repeating this next year, you're going to see like a jump of $109,000 automatically in salaries because he'll be in that category. Any questions? Awesome. Let me move right along. Administrative office assistant, I don't think we're going to talk about her much. She just did video work. She's like the backbone, right? So she somehow deals with me every day. I'm waiting for her to put a letter on my desk saying I think I've had enough. But she's not. She's there every day. She does everything. I think I overwork her to death. She does payroll. She does scheduling. She orders all the supplies. She does all the budgets. She redacts body worn camera, all FOI requests. This workload is not for one person. I've talked about this repeatedly for a few years, and it's hard because we're always in that tough budget season. Always going to be tough. This year's going to be tough. This year's going to be tough. But I do need another part-time administrative assistant. It's not fair what I put her through and what she has to do as a single person. She does a lot, and kudos to her for continuing to do it every day. So thank you, Katie.
Is that in the budget?
Not the part-time.
Not the part-time?
Yeah. The next line item is police. These are sworn officers. These are the police officers, so this has nothing to do with any civilian staff. This is 18 sworn officers in this line item. It does not include the lieutenant, which we just talked about earlier. It does not include the deputy chief or myself. And it does not include the school resource officer, which has another separate line item. I'm sure there might be some questions on that as well. This line item also adds promotion. You'll see when we break it down the numbers, and I'll tell you how I got to that number for promotion. My future staff goals, this has not changed. This has always been there since I've been chief of police. The goal remains to have a total of 21 police officers, not including any school resource officers, and not including the deputy chief or myself. And why do we say that? At the end of the day, yes, am I a police officer? I don't do what these officers do and deal with every day. I mean, they're out there nonstop, as you see. I mean, I did go out to one call, and I got tried getting pulled back, but I didn't listen. They got in there. But that does not include us. So you'll see that in the future, what I want to do with school resource officers. So at the end of the day, I want to make sure that we have 21 police officers in this line item outside of school resource officers, deputy chief, and the chief. I think based on numbers and where we rank compared to other towns our size and the number of officers per capita, we're far, 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 far below the average. Not even far. One thing to keep in mind here, let's say the officers are, they're supposed to get a 3% raise this year. And everybody's like, okay, just take that line item and put 3% in. You can't do that because officers are at different steps. And if you look at this PowerPoint here, you'll see that there's officers at all different steps. So their pay is going to be different. There's a step 3. That officer might not get to step 3 to 6 months into the fiscal year. So I got to figure out him being on step 1 for the first 6 months, and then second 6 months, he's on step 3. We're not on step 2. So he jumped up to a step 3 within that 6 months, but I don't just say, okay, let's just put him at step 3 for the whole year and I'll have extra money. No, I break it down so you see that he's in step 1 and then he's in step 3. And you'll see over here, like the promotion over here for a sergeant, it's $15,000. I had to do that based on top step or low step patrolman versus first step sergeant and take the difference. And the difference is $15,000 for a sergeant promotion. You'll see a canine stipend. We did have 2 canines. Sergeant Burrell, we just retired Canine Warren. He was in that video there. So he no longer gets a canine stipend. We are bringing back a second canine. So that will be a couple $100 probably difference by the time we get the canine trained. Detectives also get a stipend. All you see here is everything is union contract. I'm not making up these numbers. These numbers are negotiated fairly through the town and through the police officers union. And at the bottom, as I said earlier, we still rank nearly last for towns our size per 1,000 residents for the number of officers. We're at 1.4 something officers per 1,000 residents, where the state average is probably about 2.4, 2.5. July, you're doing a great job, LT. Next topic is dispatch. We're open 24/7. We have 3 full-time dispatchers. One of them works day shift, which is 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. One of them works 3 p.m. evening shift, 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. And then midnight shift is 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. They normally work Monday through Friday. Part-time dispatchers work on the weekends. They work holidays. They work when full-timers call in sick. They work when full-timers take vacation. They take PLs. However, I can't get part-time dispatchers. And I'll give you I started here in 1999, and I started out as a dispatcher, and my dispatch number was D25. And we never reassigned a number. If I'm not mistaken, Katie, correct me, what are we up to in dispatchers right now? 170. So we've gone through 100 and almost 50 dispatchers during my tenure just here. 150 at the town of Plainfield. Nobody wants to work that job. If I'm paying you $24 an hour and I have to answer 911 calls, I have to dispatch the police, I have to do clerical work, I have to work on holidays, I have to work on the weekends, or I can go work, and it's nothing against a big Y or whatever, but I can make the same amount of money, and I don't have the same responsibilities. So how am I going to draw the applicants? Right now, we're hiring for a full-time day shift dispatcher. Sounds wonderful. 7 to 3, Monday through Friday, weekends, holidays off. How many applicants do you think we have in 4 days? I don't know, 100? Because it sounds awesome. And so I sit down with them and let them know, yeah, that's Monday through Friday, but you're also going to have to work the overtime because we don't have dispatchers. You're also going to have to work the weekends. You're also going to have to work holidays. You're going to get paid, but you got to be there. And that 100 to 200 applicants we got is going to dwindle until 2. And then they're going to tell me that they're going to be able to work it until they're there. And you don't have an option to say, I can't be here, or I have plans. There's no option. That's not an option. The option is you're staying because somebody booked off and we don't have the personnel. Right now, we're filling dispatch shifts with officers, so we're trying not to burn them out. We don't have bodies, and we don't have dispatchers, so now they got to sit at desk. Sergeant Burrell just sat at the desk yesterday, and he's dispatched all day yesterday. Any questions on the dispatchers?
Chief, do you pay a shift differential for overnight and evening?
We do not.
Why?
Contraction.
Okay.
Dispatchers are a union contract. Everything's within that union contract for pay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Just get back real quick to the dispatchers. There's a contractual increase of $10,000. That's just based on their pay rate, on what they get paid. And also what we have figured out formulate a plan, not this fiscal year, but I will start bringing it together come this coming January, 2027, to ultimately fill the positions with all full-timers. And we will actually be able to double up on certain shifts, and that double up on certain shifts, I will no longer need a part-time administrative assistant, because now I've got shifts that are doubled, and I can utilize them because they're not only dispatchers, they're clerks. So they do get paperwork together for courts, they can do FOIs. Now I have the time. That line item will have to go up, but I won't have to worry about getting part-timers because it would be like a rotational of full-time dispatchers. And I don't have a problem getting full-timers. I have a problem with them maybe understanding exactly what it encompasses as this job. It's not easy. It's a very difficult job. And I have no offense to Sergeant Morello, but he had somebody who was supposed to hand in something. He's like, I got flustered in it. And this is a guy that goes to a whole bunch of calls with canine, barricade subject, gun calls. And he was in dispatch. He's like, I just got flustered in there. So it's a lot. It takes a lot to dispatch. School resource officer. And this line item, of course I'm biased when it comes to this. Safety is my #1 priority here. If I could, I would have a cop in every single school. He or she would be every single school, every single day. And if they called in sick, I would backfill it with a cop. Unfortunately, I don't have that luxury. We're starting this program, or we're restarting this program. And this is now coming up on the next fiscal year. We're getting better on the numbers. First year, difficult, trying to figure out numbers. We don't have them because we haven't done it yet. So now we're using about 6 months of data and coming up with the proper numbers, also based on union contract. There's going to be a slide here, so if you do have questions, just wait until I finish the slides, because it will go into how we broke down and came up with these numbers. The bottom line is how we came up with a school resource officer line item right now, a $17,000 increase contractually. The first time we had a basic officer getting hired at $70,000. Now we know who's in the school system. He is a step 3 employee, and that is $87,164 for that officer for the whole year. That's just his salary for the whole year. Obviously, safety's huge, but not for nothing. It's also to build relationships with our students, right? They see cops in a different light. I can't tell you, Officer LePage, our SRO, the relationship that he already has with the students, how we relied on him for investigations, even outside of work, because he knew who was who and who their parents was, where they lived, what they did, or who they hung out with. Whether it be a missing student, a missing kid, he knew their friends, so we could go find them. It is, you can't put a price tag on what he's doing. My goal is to increase that, and you'll see in my next steps. We'll talk about that right now. We have 1 school resource officer for all our schools. 5 schools. Okay. He's technically assigned to the high school right now. He does visit the other schools. He does go to Shepherd Hill. He does go to Moosup Elementary. Though probably not enough, but he's also there in the central school where he probably does most of his time as well. High school and central school. My goal in the future, and there's only one reason for this, is because at the end of the day, I love you guys, you all are great. I don't think you're going to give me 5 cops to put in 5 schools. I love it, take it if you want to. But let's do what we can afford, and based on the size of our town and what we can accomplish together. And that is 2 school resource officers. 1 for the campus of Plainfield High and Shepherd Hill, and the second would be for Plainfield Central and Plainfield Memorial School. So there'd be 1 for both those schools. And everyone's like, well, you're missing a school. You're missing Moosup Elementary. A lot of talk about Moosup Elementary. I can't talk about what the future holds. I can only say what people have told me, that eventually, probably somewhere along the line, that may combine with Shepherd Hill School. I don't know. Don't want to talk on behalf of the Board of Ed and Mr. Breton. I'm only going based on what I've heard, and my goal would be to increase, hopefully in the near future, an extra school resource officer so we can actually be at the schools. So how do we break down this number? We are getting reimbursed from the school $129,239. You look at that and you go, that's more than what the officer costs, right? So it doesn't really make sense. We figured out that roughly the Board of Ed should cover 10 months of the cost. Town should cover 2, give or take, right? 10 and 2. but it doesn't just include the salary. Great, you know what I make, you know what the officers make. We don't just cost that. There are benefits, there's training, there's education stipends, and we'll get into that. There's sick time. All these things you have to take into account. The Board of Ed is actually increasing this amount. This is a $1,789 increase from last year. And if you go to the next slide, you'll actually be able to see how it's broken down here. Salary, we talked about a salary. His salary is $87,000. Overtime, $2,000. How does he get overtime in school? There's a variety of things how he get overtime in school. One, I'm not sending any officer to a juvenile referral board. I'm sending my school resource officer because he's the one that deals with the kids and also probably issued the juvenile referral board. Also, there are certain events where he needs to be at. He's a school resource officer. He's going to be at prom. He's going to be at those events. That, unfortunately, is overtime. We figured out $2,000 would be fair. He also drives a vehicle. There's gas involved. $2,000 for gas. The officer also gets a uniform allowance by contract. There's your uniform allowance. He also gets a pension. That's the pension cost. There's also training associated with it. And the list goes on all the way down. So for the total cost, working with the Director of Finance, Ms. Lisa, we came up with a number and sitting down with the superintendent for the officer, for the SRO that's assigned to the school, is $155,092.22. Figuring out the 10 to 12 ratio, 83.33%, roughly the school's cost, town share, 25 cost. So that's how we come up with the number of the school reimbursement of $129,000. Any questions? Custodian / maintenance. This is a gentleman that does all the meetings, something broke, something worn out, garbages, toilets, jail cells, which nobody likes to clean because they are not hotel Holiday Inn. They are not the nicest spots to be in. He does all that dirty work. He also does the grounds. The only thing he does not do is plow. He does not plow the driveway, but he does everything else. He's at 30 hours. I could definitely use another 10 hours. I'm not asking for that. This is just a small increase to his salary to round it out to $25 per hour. Any questions on the custodian?
How's he work for overtime?
Yeah, I don't give him overtime.
So if there's a problem in a cell over the weekend, what happens?
We got 3 cells. If it's very severe, then I'll get him in. If not, we'll utilize the 2 other cells. Overtime. There is a $30,000 increase in overtime. You may think that's awfully high of an increase. I just want to kind of give you an idea of where we're at right now. Going back to current budget right now, as of March 19th, I should have roughly 31% left in my overtime line item. I currently have 4%. And it's probably a lot less, it's probably more like 1 or 2 because of overtime. Overtime is unique. It's not the cop out there directing traffic that you see. He's making overtime, but that overtime is getting paid by the contractor, and the town actually makes money on that. And I'll get into that. This is what we call in-house overtime. Narcotics search warrants, sex assault. Unfortunately, we had murder-suicide. That may not sound, it's a lot, but nobody really realizes what it entails. That takes 5 to 7 personnel to be there to process a crime scene. Not only that, we had to sit on the house as a crime scene for 2 days. An officer had to sit there for 2 days. It's overtime. Fatalities, fires, all these different things. Also to fill in shifts. We have a person out on military leave. He's not helping us. We have to backfill his spot. Somebody takes a day off. We have what we call a 2-man minimum. It's awful. That means at any given time, there's only 2 police officers on. You'll see a lot here. Deputy Chief salary, I abuse him, so, and the LT, we're not counting him right now because I abuse him too. You know, you're seeing 3, but we're not out there patrolling. You're only going to have 2 officers, maybe a supervisor on patrol. So anytime that somebody takes a day off, we got to backfill that shift, and that is over. I'm hoping that next year I can live within this speaking to the Director of Finance, we think this is a good number, a solid number. We also got to take into the fact that there are contractual raises. So not only this number, I'm going to be well in the hole. At the end of the day, my overall budget will be fine, but that line item will be well in the hole. We should be able to manage that if our officers complete the training. We have 2 officers in the police academy, we have 1 officer on field training, 1 officer out in the military. You get all those officers back, we should be okay. We should be okay. Questions? Holiday pay. This is contractual. Officers get paid 15 holidays. They don't have the luxury to have the day off. The police officers work 4 days on, 2 days off, 5 days on, 2 days off. They don't have the luxury to say, hey, it's Christmas, I'm taking that off. No, they have to work if it falls on their day off. When it does, they get to choose holiday pay or bank a day off. But then it gets complicated because you can only choose 7 of the 15 holidays to bank. But if you work that day, you actually get paid double time and a half. If you don't work it, you actually still get paid a holiday per union contract. So it can be very convoluted and very confusing. And I don't know what the officer's going to choose, either get paid or bank a day. Because when you're working, you get paid double time and a half, but you also can bank a day, but now you're only getting paid time and a half because you banked a day. Very, very confusing. It's a tough number to guesstimate on. We over-guesstimated last year. Talking to the Director of Finance, we believe that we can decrease that number by $30,000 and still maintain within that based on where we are at today. And we talk about, I use the March 19th, this is the one I have. We look at holiday pay, we should be at 31% roughly, we're at 56%. So we're doing well in that line item. So that's the reason why we believe that we can decrease that. Even though with raises, we can decrease that amount of money. I hope so. I'll come back to you. Any questions about holiday pay? Uniform allowance. Every officer is entitled to uniform allowance. They get paid quarterly payments. It's $325 a quarter for uniform maintenance and repair. Rip your pants by yourself because you're on duty weekend in place, but also laundry your clothes, and boots are going to be at. A new officer is going to spend $4,000. It's something that we got to look at in the future. It's something that we really should help the officer. There's no reason why we're going to hire a police officer, and the first thing right out is we give them $1,200, and their bulletproof vest is $1,000. And these pants that I'm wearing right now are $135. The shirt I'm wearing is $100. Everything here, not the holster is $250. We're putting that officer in a hole who's brand new, coming to us, $4,000 to $5,000 in the hole just to become a police officer. It's hard enough to get police officers. Now imagine say, great, pay $1,200, but good luck, you can spend $500 grand. Something we should look at in the future, but as of right now, we give a first-time officer that we hire $1,200, and then quarterly, a year after that, is $325 a quarter. There's a small increase in that line item of $1,400. Anytime that I want to change something, whether I want to give them a different ball cap or a different hat because it's not working, the department, has to pay for that.
Chief, is that taxable to them?
That's a great question. So the $1,200 that he gets, taxable. So instead of the $1,200, what is he getting? $1,000, $920? Yep. So not only he's not getting full $1,200, it's taxable, and he's losing $300 in taxes. Elias, you might have earned a new spot. Couple of biggest things where departments and towns get sued. Supervision, training. Those are the 2 biggest things where the towns get sued as a result. Every year you will see an increase in this line item coming from me because I want to make sure we deliver the best police officers going out to answer calls. I want to make sure they're trained. I want to make sure that they're going to every school that they possibly can go to make sure that we're delivering the best possible services. There's an increase of $31,000 in this line item for a variety of reasons. One, we always play behind the ball on this right here, the 8 ball. We are always piecemealing things. Right now, we're one of the only 2 departments that in the state that are not using red dots on their firearms because we just don't have the funding for them. So we have 5 of our officers that have them, and the rest don't. So this includes actually equipping our officers with the red dots. It also equips our officers with tasers that are not 10, 12, 13 years old right now. As you can see, they obviously use the tasers. And you might say they work, but those are refurbished tasers. That taser no longer insures. They're aftermarket tasers, which that's all we have right now. This actually gets us on a plan to recycle our tasers every 5 years. Not every officer carries it. As you see, we don't, but the officers on the road do. So we're not buying one for every officer. We're buying 7 so they change out. And we'll always have one on spare if we need one. Questions on training?
Chief, how much does it cost to replace the taser?
Oh, wow. So to have 7 tasers and get on their plan, it's a 5-year plan. 7 tasers, they will replace a taser if it goes bad, battery if it goes bad. They will also give you the cartridges that you need, however many you deploy. They will also give you training cartridges. You're looking at $12,000 a year for 5 years. 7 tasers. That's give or take. That was last year's cost, so I can only imagine when we sign up for this going to be on. And they hold the market. Taser's one company, it's Axon. It's their company. I can't just go, and the only reason why we have our tasers is because the ones that broke, we bought from a third-party vendor who took in other agencies' tasers and fixed them. They're very good. We need new tasers.
Is that included in that?
That is included in here. A couple of things that are here, tuition for officers, Law Enforcement Council, some of these things you might not have heard of. We belong to the Law Enforcement Council, which is an agency that's mixed with 20 police agencies around here, Waterford, London, Willimantic, Yukon, Eastern, Putnam, I might have said, Norwich. We all belong to one agency. We have to pay a fee. They do all our testing. That is part of us right there. Drug screening, it's a guesstimate. I don't know how many people we're going to drug test, depending on how many applicants. We're required to get drug tested. Ammunition, polygraphs, obviously nothing's free. We're required by the Police Accountability Bill. Psychological testing was only done once prior to hiring. Now we have to do it every few years for cops. That was never a thing, it was just one time. And then now we have to do it every 4 or 5 years?
Every 5 years, 20% of the department. So we're sitting about 4 a year.
And then, any questions? Who's the lawn here? Sick day incentive. What is that? So you look at that and you're like, okay, you're getting paid for sick days. You're getting paid for not calling in sick. It takes 5 years of not calling in sick at all, not one time, to start getting paid for any sick time that you have on the books. So anything over the 5 years of not calling in sick one time, you'll actually get paid out in a check once a year at the beginning of July for not calling in sick. There's an increase in that line item only because we have some people that have reached that point where they haven't called in sick, and now they get a nice little stipend for not calling in sick. That's contractual. I get this every year, so I'll explain it before we go over it and during the budget, so you realize my line item's at 0. This is an education incentive. You get a few $100, $400 if you have a bachelor's degree, and you get maybe $200, I think, if you have associates, and then $800 or $750 if you have a master's degree. That is paid one time. It's one time in July. So you get that few $100 in July. So when you see that line item go 0, like 2 weeks into July, we don't need it anymore. It's just that one-time incentive. You'll see in this year's, we calculated wrong, so we're $400 in the hole in this current budget, but that's because we calculated wrong. So that's also contractual. Oh, I'm missing a good animation back here. I mean, the screen just opened up. It's pretty. You're going to see a bird fly a little bit. This is utilities. This is an increase of $4,000 in utilities compared to last year. Utilities self-explanatory, landlines, cell phones. All cars have modems, which is like their own individual phone system in there. That's what uploads videos, connects the mobile data terminals. One thing to keep in mind, what we did this year is there's only a few officers that have cellular phones. I have to supply every officer with a camera, a digital camera. I can't get the camera on Amazon for $22 and start handing those out. That's not how that works. The cameras that they need now are roughly $800 to $1,500. We bypass that because right now phones probably have better cameras. Every officer is now supplied with a cellular phone. It allows them direct communication throughout the day. So every officer now has a cellular phone, and that also works in conjunction with their camera. So every crime scene, they do have to take photos. We do have a special investigation unit, depending on how serious the crime is. They will come out and take the expert photos. But for the overall photos, whether it be accidents or domestic violence, assaults, they're going to use their work phone. Also, what you also don't know too is anytime an officer responds to domestic violence, they have to complete a lethality assessment. They have to call a number. And a lot of times they're using a personal phone because the victim needs to call this hotline to make sure that they're safe, that we don't need to get them into a safety home. So now they have all work phones, they can utilize that, and not the personal number that they have to get to the victim. Also, the evidence storage builder, that was a very interesting one. Evidence storage building is going to have electricity, full electricity, so we also believe that's going to increase, obviously.
When is that going to be completed?
It's so cheap.
When is that going to be completed this year?
So I'm waiting for the Director of Finance to return just to go over our, we have to send out the bid. That second phase of the electricity, I just want to make sure that she looks over the bid.
Is that in this year's budget?
That is in this year's budget. Yep, this year's budget.
Is that the $95,000?
No, that's MDTs. That's the laptops inside the cars, which actually just came in today.
Yes.
Vehicle expenses. Obviously, this is wear and tear of the cars. We have a 17 vehicle fleet. I know it sounds like a lot, but we also have 2 canine cars. We have administrative cars. We have detective cars, and we have patrol cars that are running 24/7. I base this on however much a gallon is, and again, it's guesstimate. I don't know. Obviously, right now with Iran, you just see every day it's going up. I know that the first selectman has an extra tank or however they do it, so we can buy more fuel at a lower cost, and it'll hopefully last, and hopefully it doesn't get mixed in with diesel. So we, sitting down with the Director of Finance, we believe that this is a safe number. You got to remember too, outfitting a car is very, very expensive. A police car and the lights, the light bar alone, you're at like $6,000 to $7,000 for a light bar. And then you have the small lights, the sirens, the radio. It is very, very expensive to outfit a cruiser. We try to recycle as much as possible. When you saw those cars earlier on the first screen, Ford really didn't change a lot of their cars in the interior. That's what we went with all the time. Now, it's a new model every year. So like the plastic prisoner seat in the back no longer fits in the 2026. That was just from the 2025. So they do that on purpose, so you have to purchase everything all over again. So it's just very expensive. We think this is going to be a safe number. I would not want this to decrease in any which way. I don't want anything to decrease. We could be in trouble, especially now with fuel.
Chief, do you think it's a good idea to maybe increase what your allotment is towards gas, given the current situations, rather than $3.25 a gallon? Maybe $4 a gallon?
It could
Just
be.
a question.
No, I think it's a good answer, but when we were putting this together, we weren't going to Iran, so we didn't know. Hopefully it comes down. That's best guess judgment. $3.25 was pretty good last year, right? Because it was less, $2.90, $2.80. It was pretty good. I'm hoping that it comes back down where we can survive on
Do you think you want to survive on that?
Oh, I don't want to survive anything.
No, I'm just saying, I mean, do you think it's a wise move, given how high the costs are going up now?
I would have to see and do a cost analysis of the number of gallons that we are currently using and what we're paying right now. I just have to check with the selectman's office to see what they're paying per gallon. Any questions on vehicles at all? When we look at gallons of fuel, again, we get monthly charts of how many gallons. So we try to average. Sometimes we're at 18,000 a year, sometimes we're at 15,000. All depends. K9's cars, they're always running. It's for emergencies and because of the control system for the HVAC, or probably the car. You know, the heat and the AC controls, they have to be running. And then honestly, all the cars are really running because all the equipment that's inside, from the dashboard cameras to the modems and the computers, they have to be on.
Chief Ariaga, we know that cars get wrecked. Well, where is that in here that we're going to replace, or we have to replace the vehicle?
So that is going to be in the town side of the improvements. That has listed, Kevin can correct me if I'm wrong, for selectmen, 2 Tahoes are in